Being a leader, communication is a skill that's more important than ever. Being able to speak with authority is essential. And we can think of authoritative speaking like a meter with a needle in the middle, and good authoritative speakers can balance this meter between passive speaking styles and aggressive speaking styles. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you, as an aggressive speaker, will be able to balance that needle more towards the center. Why aggressive speaking can be bad for your team as a leader. Typically, leaders with aggressive speaking styles tend to create a room with poor psychological safety. Your team doesn't feel safe to voice their opinions. It removes trust. It makes people more defensive. It becomes a one-way street when it comes to communication. And that's something that is very bad for team collaboration and innovation in general. So here are 3 things that you can focus on as an aggressive speaker the next time you need to speak with authority. The first thing you need to think of and keep in mind is your voice. Control your voice. Aggressive speakers tend to speak faster, especially when they are emotionally activated or charged. So what you can do is slow down your pace, talk calmer, take pauses to think. Another thing aggressive speakers do with their voice is they tend to try and control a room with their voice. They speak over others, they speak louder. Just because you make your point louder, it doesn't make your point clearer. So as an aggressive speaker, you need to remember to control your voice. Speak slower, in a lower tone, a lower volume, and give room to others to speak. The second thing you can focus on when you are an aggressive speaker is to reduce the use of absolute language. Aggressive speakers tend to speak in more absolute language or more confrontational words. For example, they would say something like, "That is wrong. This is obvious." Or they would say, "You always do this." When you speak in this kind of language, which is more aggressive, more confrontational, it tends to make people think that you are pushy or arrogant, and it creates defensiveness amongst the people who you are talking to. Instead of using absolute language, try to use language that is decisive, but also open to collaboration. For example, you could disagree with something and say it like this: "I disagree with that point. Try and convince me." So that opens the floor to collaboration. Just because you are an aggressive, authoritative speaker, it doesn't mean that you need to always disagree or agree with something. So by opening the floor or always ending your sentences in "let's discuss" or "what do you think," it creates a space where people don't feel the need to close their opinions to you and makes a two-way conversation. The next thing you can focus on as an authoritative speaker is to end cleanly. Aggressive speakers tend to go on longer to speak to win. They try to make their point win, and when they do that, they tend to overrun or give too many examples and reasons. As an authoritative speaker, you should end your points cleanly. Make the point and pause or leave room for the end, for the point to stand on its own. What you can do is lead with your key point and end cleanly. You don't need to give excessive examples or reasonings to your point unless clarity is needed. And if that is so, if you are a good authoritative speaker, your team will gladly ask you questions to clarify. So, as a leader, think about authoritative speaking as a meter, and you need to try and control that meter to balance it between passive and aggressive speaking styles. In some instances, more passive would be better, and in other instances, being more aggressive might get your team going. So remember, authority is calm, authority is clear, authority is not overpowering, and it is not winning. Next time you're going to speak with authority, think to yourself, ask yourself, did I make that point clear? And did I leave room for others?